I want to talk about homeschooling. I'm seeing that a lot of people nowadays are starting to opt towards homeschooling their children. And before I saw these statistics, I was also considering the same for my daughter. Now, my daughter doesn't live with me at the moment. She's nearly 14 years old. If she were to come home to me, it's an option I would seriously consider. When they get to a certain age, I believe we should empower them. You know, of course, we're guiding them, but I think also give them empowerment to say, look, what option would you prefer? If they don't like school and they're having trouble adjusting to it, I don't think forcing them against their will is really the best way forward, in all honesty. Like, my daughter is constantly fighting against her teachers. She's combative. She's argumentative. Doesn't do well with authority figures. There's deep reasons to this. But also, respect gains respect. You know, I think some teachers are just not built to be teachers. They don't have people skills. There's also a problem with children in general. You know, I'm not saying my daughter's perfect, but what I'm saying is there's plenty of children who are disruptive. People who come from maybe wealthy backgrounds. They don't have their parents' attention, so they treat others negatively. There's people with impoverished backgrounds who just like maybe they're not treated well at home. They lash it out and become bullies at school. There's all these things. So there's dynamics that go beyond maybe us as adults. We don't have to contend with so much in our daily lives, but children have to. And you could argue you went through it as a child, but what did that do for you? When I consider my childhood and school, because that's all we can do, you know, we can draw upon our own experiences. Someone can tell you this and tell you that, but at the end of the day, what did you experience? At school, I had a hard time myself paying attention. You could say it's really important. You go to school, well, how much per day did you absorb from school? What classes did you really enjoy? Because I can tell you now, the classes that I didn't enjoy, I didn't participate. I got a B in religious education, yet I didn't listen to a damn thing in religious education. I just sat there laughing and messing about. Turns out I'm not a religious person. I am spiritual, but I'm not religious. So I never enjoyed the studies, but I innately knew of it all. So my teacher, she was surprised when we did a mock exam, and she said, you could be a monk. For me, that was a clear sign early on that I had a spiritual connection. So I understood innately sort of our existence. And others' beliefs. The point is, some people can teach, some people can't. Some people have intelligence, some people don't. I don't think you have to necessarily be the most intelligent person to be able to teach, because you can have someone that's really intelligent that just is no good as a teacher at all. But I think if you're going to homeschool, at least you do need to have some sort of structure to create a program. And that's what I would do. It wouldn't be a case of I'm homeschooling and it's all just a jolly. It's not, but I also recognise that personally, I think school is too long. I think it's too intense. It's not a military camp. I think there's too much homework. So personally, for me, I would make my daughter study from between maybe 9:30, 10 in the morning to maybe 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon. Then that's it. If there's any work we want to do later, like we can. I mean, you can always because the thing is, there's so much you can do. Like when you're cooking your meals, get them to join in cooking. Boom, you've done that side of things. Like with me, I'm just going to go back to childhood slightly. There was a situation where we was doing a French lesson. The French teacher was unhinged. She blocked the door. She wouldn't let us leave the room because people weren't paying attention. But we weren't interested, you know. I ended up jumping out the window. I'm not even a crazy person, but even in that instance I did. I jumped out the window with my friends. We went round and then we bumped straight into the head teacher, who then sent us to the back of another classroom. Now, okay, that's teaching us discipline. But what did it teach us in education? Nothing. We sat at the back of a classroom doing nothing. We learnt nothing in the French class. That's an hour over. That's 2 hours wasted, that was. Because I'm doing 2 classes here. It was absolutely useless. So our engagement is really important. So we don't take everything into our everyday lives anyway. So if I'm going to just take my background slightly, I've done IT at college, passed a college course. I've passed a university course in IT. Didn't get a degree because I just lost interest. But I have an aptitude for it. I can create my own websites. I do web design. I build my own computers. So I have an aptitude for computers and technology. I've authored books. I've done 5 books at this point. I'm writing more. I've done audio books. I've done a podcast. I'm doing the videos now. So I have an aptitude for media. I can do media studies with. So if I was teaching my daughter right now, I can do IT. I can do media studies. I can do English. I'm just looking at all the things I can do with her. You can even do baking and cooking whenever you're cooking, I'm good with maths in general anyway. So I know I have an aptitude to be able to teach. I know I have intelligence to help her learn. And I'm structured. I'm organized. I achieve things I set out to do. So it wouldn't be a case of this is just a jolly, it's unorganized. But what I would say is, at school, it's hard for a teacher to focus solely on your child. It is consumed by so many different things. And I would say as well, just because someone's passed the university courses and they've got their degree, that doesn't make them a great teacher. Like I just said, I've passed courses. Okay, I didn't attain the degree, but I've passed courses. And I know I have intelligence that I can actually do this. And I know I'm a good teacher, so I can actually I would be able to help my daughter learn. And I felt I'd be better than the teachers, in all honesty. Not in every subject, but I would say some of the subjects are so pointless and meaningless, you don't need to do them. I don't think we have to just keep doing this, where we just keep bothering our children to a deep-rooted resentment. Because the other thing is as well, you could argue, okay, going to school is good because it teaches you social skills, interacting with people, but there's also a negative side, the bullying. I think there's far too much discipline at schools in terms of the teachers. They're suppressing. My daughter had a situation where the teachers have locked the girls' toilets. It's like, what is this? What is this? This is getting barbaric. And the way I see it is, in a workplace environment, you are free to leave and find somewhere different if you don't fit in or you don't feel comfortable, you're not enjoying it. With school, you really are stuck and bound by a circumstance and a place, and I don't like it. I think there's too much homework. Again, I think there has to be a level of let children be children too. Don't have to grow up that fast. There's another thing as well where school holidays are incredibly expensive for parents to be able to take their children anywhere on the holidays. And I see the beauty in homeschooling is that you can take your child on holiday, but you can still take some work with you. Okay, so it's holiday, so you don't have to. But effectively, when it's holiday periods, you can teach your child in those. So you literally can just change your holiday patterns. It's not a case of saying we can have more holidays than everybody else, because you can still study. Let's say it's the summer holidays. Everybody else is on holiday. You can still spend a week here and a week there, or a few days here, a few days there studying when other people aren't, because you took days off during the year to go on holiday and enjoy yourself. But you can still take some work with you, but not be so stupid to say, look, we're just going to study on holiday. That's not what you're doing. I think you should be able to work around your own lives. I don't think we should be dictated by governments all the time, to say your children can't do this, your children can't do that. As a parent, you don't have control of this. You're going to be fined if you do that. It's like people are getting fed up with it, man, because we're fed up with the suppression. But we're also fed up with the rules and the way we're sort of ordered to behave, and the way our kids are ordered to learn. I don't agree with most of it, in all honesty, and I'm sick of it. Like I said, I've grown up. I've looked at my childhood. I've looked at the way I was educated. It wasn't that great, to be honest. Most of the time, the teachers are just stressed. Half the time, we're not even learning and paying attention. So you're saying, okay, children have to be at school for this long. How much are they actually absorbing every day? Because I can guarantee you, there's only 1 or 2 lessons they enjoyed, and they're the only ones they listen to. So out of, I don't know how many hours, let's just say it's an 8-hour day, I would say probably out of 2 hours at the most, they've actually absorbed information. What's the point? Just teach them actually what's important. I just think there's a lot of fluff at school. There's a lot of topics you just don't have to go over. There's other ways to educate, and I do think at home could be a great place, but there has to be a structure. And I think also attention if you're going to be a parent teaching your children, you have to give them undivided attention. There's no point just sitting in front of the TV, giving them a workbook and saying, right, we're homeschooling, go and do that in your room. That's absolute shit. If you're going to do that, send them to school. Send them to school, because you're not even giving a one-on-one. They're not getting that interaction time. But I think kids also have to be kids, so it's important they do spend time around other children, though. So there has to be a balance to it. Maybe maybe if you haven't got a friend circle, I'd say take them out for days out as well, to like places where there's other kids. So they're having that interaction as well. They're having that social setting too. I don't think isolating them at home solely is really good for their well-being either. So there's a balance to be had with it, each to their own. But I think if you're going to homeschool, you should take it serious and you should consider all the options and the reasons for. But also, if you're going to keep them in school, just question maybe why and what that actually serves, because it's not always for the best.